Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Working in Hockey podcast. I'm your host, Nick Bowins, joined by Lukas Georgas, as always. And today we've got a super special guest from Spittin Chiclets fame, Mike Grinnelli. How you doing here today, my man?
What's up, boys? Thanks for having me. Big fan of what you guys do. Lucas, fellow champion. We were champions together, so great to see you again, buddy.
Course, always good to see you.
Well, I want to kick things off here, G, by giving you some flowers initially. Not sure if you remember or how much you remember, but the very first week that I started working in hockey, April 2024, my second ever post, April 6th, was podcast editor for Spittin Chiclets. And I want to say I'd gotten, 500, 750 followers that first weekend. You put that post up on your story, and overnight I woke up to 1,000 more followers. So working in hockey, the birth of it all circles back to you, my friend.
Oh, thank you, man. And don't give me that much credit. It's all obviously all you, but it's funny that I when I was like in college mainly and even after college, I followed every working in sports, like, sports media jobs. I followed every single one of those accounts. So like the second I saw that, it was like, all right, yeah, let's play ball. Let's see what they got going here.
Yeah, no, well, we appreciate it nonetheless. But Lucas, gonna let you kick things off here.
Yeah, obviously you've built up quite the career for yourself and such a unique role. For those who don't know, what is your role with Spittin Chiclets and what does your normal day to day look like?
Thank you guys, and I appreciate the kind words. And my job title is the executive producer of Spittin Chiclets. And my day to day it's different every single day. I wouldn't consider myself like your average producer, because I feel like a producer really just focuses on the show that he's working on, and I think it's so much more than that. What I do, people ask me all the time, like, "What is your day to day like?" And it's different every single day, which I love. I think that's such an enjoyable part of this job. Is like last week I spent like the morning recording a podcast, and then it's like in the afternoon, I drove out to Leominster, Massachusetts to look at the different types of sport court for the Chiclets Cup. And then like I was in a different place in Massachusetts where I can't say the exact location, but checking out Chiclets Cup locations and meeting with bar owners to discuss potential meet and greets there, and then the next night it's or an hour later it's calling the San Jose Sharks for a potential interview with Matthew Schaefer, and then reviewing a vlog that we're dropping later that night. So it's different every day. It's I'd probably, as while my title is executive producer, I would say it's more like brand director of Spittin Chiclets. Um, but yeah, it's different every day, and I'm very lucky and very blessed to have the job that I have.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think we'll get into it a little bit deeper there on all the different avenues and side quests that you guys have developed and grown through Chiclets there. But I think a lot of people have probably heard the origin story of you on the podcast. But for those who haven't, I think it's a worthwhile lesson for people to hear. How did you first get involved with or land your role there with Spittin Chiclets?
Yeah, so it kind of, I guess I can. Do you want me to start from kind of the beginning
Yeah,
of
take
how?
us
Because
back.
that
Yeah.
kind of led right into like how I got with Chiclet. So I always knew that I wanted to work in sports media at a very young age. It was so obvious to me. My family owns a bar in Boston, and I remember I used to see guys like Rob Simpson in there, Andy Brickley, just guys that were on TV, and they were like celebrities. And my dad's best buddy worked at ESPN growing up, and we would go to, he'd say, we'd be at a Red Sox game and he'd say, "Hey, like Billy's working, like let's go down and see him." And I'm like, "He's working?" And we'd like go on the field at Fenway, and I'm meeting David Ortiz, and I'd be leaving. I'd be like, "Dad, that was work for that guy?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, he's a producer at ESPN. This is what he does." So I knew at a very young age I didn't want to go into my family business. My family owns an HVAC business as well that all my brothers work at. My dad owns, and so I knew at a young age I didn't want to do that. So I went to college. I went to Plymouth State, and went for lacrosse, ended up quitting lacrosse and playing on the club hockey team. And I just knew when I was there that right when I got there, I wanted to, like, once hockey ended in high school and it was like, all right, now it's time to go build towards what's next, like my next career. And I'd say like anyone who knows me will tell you that like my work ethic is insane. And like when I want something, it's like I'm obsessive. It's like almost like a little weird how obsessive I get with something. But I became obsessed with becoming into being in the sports media. So fast forward, I'm at college. Plymouth State has a radio station. They didn't really have the best journalism programs. They didn't really have the best like media department. So it was kind of like, hey, like, basically, throw you into the ocean and see if you can swim. So they did have a radio station where it's funny. My friend, this kid I knew at Plymouth, he had a key to the radio station. He would go do his sports radio show. And one night at a party, we kind of got talking. I'm like, hey, like, what do I got to do to get that key? Like, I'm trying to get in there. And he was like, oh, no problem. Like, you come in after my show, I'll give you the key. And so next thing you know, I'm doing a college radio show and we're talking sports. And funny thing is, like, one of our first shows, it's a college radio show, FM. So I go to send it to break and there was no commercials. Like the show they didn't have commercials. So you would play music for commercials. The first song I play was ASAP Rocky Fucking Problem. So that while I was off the school's radar doing the radio show, I was now on the school's radar doing the radio show. So we kind of talked our way through that. They kind of gave us some shit, but we ended up using then that radio show we would go to like bars around Boston. At like that summer, it was like, all right, what's the next step here? Like, how do we keep momentum going from, we called it Shane and Mike at night. And it was me and my buddy Shane. And we then we pitched ourselves to Dirty Water Sports, which is it's a media company in Boston, and they would basically allow us to go to bars around Boston, and it was really just my dad's bar. Like in this story, like I exaggerate over time, almost like a pathological liar does, because that's what I would tell people. But I'd say we'd go to bars all around the city. We would go to my dad's bar. We'd set up Friday nights and we would do our radio show, but we were live streaming it to YouTube, something no one was really doing at the time. And so that was my sophomore year. And then junior year, I go back to Plymouth and start looking at internships. And I come across this internship for ESPN New Hampshire. ESPN New Hampshire, back in the day, ESPN Radio used to have affiliates. I think they still do for the most part, but ESPN Colorado, ESPN Fort Lauderdale, they'd have all these different affiliates all over the country. And they had one in Nashua, New Hampshire, which was a little over an hour away from where I went to school. So I went in for an internship interview, and I studied this station inside and out before I went. And I was more prepared for this interview than I ever was in my life. I showed up in a full suit, a great gray suit. I looked great. I felt the part. I was so confident. And I went into this room. I'll never forget it. I sat down in this room and there was like 2 or 3 high school kids, a college kid. They're in shorts and a t-shirt. Just like, I was just like, I want this so much more than these kids do. Like they're in here to like go take notes at the Friday night high school football game and say they have an internship. I'm here to make a career out of this. And I, at the end of the internship like seminar, I walked into the GM's office, Justin Bastinelli, great guy. And I just pitched myself and I said, I did some research on the station before I came in today. I know that you guys have no weekend programming right now. You syndicate everything nationally. What I can do for you is the Patriots. This is the Patriots' height, right? This is 2015. What I can do for you is I'll come in on Sundays. I'll do a Patriots pregame show every Sunday. We'll sell that to local advertisers. And then and then you can make money locally. I'll talk about whatever you want. They were the UMass Lowell hockey affiliate. So I was like, I'll talk UMass Lowell hockey. I'll talk Manchester Monarchs. I'll talk about UNH. Whatever you guys want me to talk about, I'll do. And he was kind of astonished that I did that. And then I went back to, hey, bars all around Boston have been paying me for the past year over the summers to come and do these live shows. So I'm not a nobody here. I know what I'm doing. And he's like, wow, little did he know it was my dad's bar. I wasn't getting paid. So he hired me and he was like, you're in, we got this. So I would, Sunday mornings, I would drive down from Plymouth State after like a night of partying, and me and my buddy would do a Patriots pregame show. And to have that ESPN radio host like in your resume in
100%.
college was just so crucial to me. And that's when I kind of started to grow a following. So I did that show for a year or two, and I would reach out to everyone. And I remember one guy in particular, and it's funny because it was a Patriots pregame show, but I had on Jared Carrabis, who's the Red Sox writer. And I would get these guys on, and after the show, I'd get their number and thank them for coming on, but then I'd always ask them for advice. And Jared gave me so much good advice over the years. Like I can't thank that kid enough for everything he did for me. But that's something I would tell to anyone out there listening is always just ask for advice. Ask for advice over asking for jobs. I just think people are much more receptive to that. And so I would do this show. I would ask these guys for advice, and then it's funny. So I did the show for my junior and senior year every Sunday, and then at the end of my senior year, I was in there. I think I was like editing the audio after the show for something to throw on SoundCloud, because I think that's where we posted all the audio after. And my boss Justin and his kind of the next guy down, who was like a station manager or something, they came in and they kind of surprised me, and I was a little taken back. I'm like, because usually I had the studio to myself on Sundays. No one was in there. It was me, it was the producer, and then it was my co-host. They kind of ambushed me, and I'm like, oh, here it is. I'm getting fired. I did something. They're like, Mike, we heard that you can build websites and you're this expert website builder. So we would like to hire you full time. You can run our website. You can, I was doing some blogging at the time on the side for like different websites and stuff. And he's like, you can write, you can hire writers, and you can like kind of take over ESPNNewHampshire.com and kind of make that your own. And I'm like, all right, absolutely. I accept the deal. I accept the job, but I'll only accept the job if you give me my own nighttime radio show. So I'll work 9 to 5 every day, but Monday through Friday from 6 to 8, I want my own show, because once again, you syndicate all that. So every night starting at 6 o'clock, you syndicate the Red Sox pregame show, the Bruins pregame show, the Celtics pregame show. Let me do that, and then we can sell locally and we can make more money off of it. Right away, he agrees. Right away, I went home and Googled how to build a website. I had no idea how to build a website. I don't know how he heard that I could build a website. It was just one of those things where it was like, yeah, sure, cool.
Absolutely.
I can do it. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll do it and I'll learn. And that's another piece of advice for anyone out there listening is like, you can learn. Like you might just tell them you can do it. Just tell them you can do it and then figure it out later, because once you get your foot in the door, if you're a good guy, they ain't kicking you out. So yeah, so I did that. So so that was my full-time job out of college. I was 9 to 5. I was running ESPNNewHampshire.com. I learned how to build the website. I built it. I was hiring writers. I had my own office. I was on top of the world. I would have done that for the rest of my life. I was making like no money. I think they were paying me minimum wage, but I was working 60 hours a week. So at the same time, it kind of all evened out. But one day, my boss comes in and he's like, and I had grown so close with him over the years, and he was such a good guy, Justin Bastinelli. He was such a good mentor to me, just such a great person. And he came in and was like, Mike, you're my guy. I got to look out for you here. I just got out of a meeting. I think we're selling the station in 6 months. and my heart just dropped. I'm like, no, like this was it. I would have done this for the rest of my life. I would have figured out a way to make money. I'll bartend on the weekends if I have to, but I was so happy. I was talking about Boston sports. I had my own radio show, had my own office. This was it. This was the crux of, I did it. Like I actually did it. And so the first thing I did was I thought, okay, where do I want to work next? What is the next best thing? And I had realized that I had just listened to episode 1 of Spittin Chiclets. They had just dropped episode 1 of Spittin Chiclets, and I had followed RA, I had followed Wit forever, and I remember listening to and being like, this sounds awful. They had no social media. They kind of just didn't really have anyone like steering the ship. And I emailed RA and I said, I'll quit my job tomorrow. I have all this equipment. I didn't have any equipment. I was like, I'll run the social media for you. I'll start social media for you. I'll be like the Hank that Part of My Take has. And also, you don't have to pay me. I'll work for free. I believe in what you guys have here. I just want to get my foot in the door. And RA responded and said, you're hired. You start Thursday. And I've been with him ever since. So it's been a crazy ride. It's, the first, year or so, it was Wit and RA kind of just paying me out of pocket when they could. And yeah, it's been a great learning experience. I think I heard the On the Bench guys say this before. It's like, it's the undreamable dream, right? Like I never was sitting there, even in college, when I was like, I want to be in hockey media. I never was like, I want to be a podcast producer, a hockey podcast producer. But I am, and I think I have a dream job. I would never give this job up. I'm so happy and I'm so lucky and I'm so thankful for it. So I kind of just rambled for like 20 minutes there, but I hope that gave you a good idea of kind of, and it's funny too, because I'll also say, like, when I did take that job when I left ESPN New Hampshire, joined Barstool, I needed ways to make money. And I still wanted to keep my foot in the media business, because I didn't know what would Spittin Chiclets be. I thought it was more just like this fun project where if we made some money on the side, like we made some money. So at the time, I had like 3 jobs. I was a nighttime producer, like overnight producer, basically at Comcast Sportsnet in Boston. I was a weekend radio producer for WEEI. So Saturdays, Sundays, I was in there every Saturday, Sunday. And like my job at Comcast Sportsnet Boston was, I would go in at night after the Red Sox games and I would transcribe every single interview that came in post game from all the coaches, all the players. It was a nightmare. It was just a nightmare job. And then one day, as I was leaving, one of the girls at the station was like, why do you work here? Like, why, like, you don't need to work here. Like, you work on a pretty successful podcast. Like, why don't you just like do that? And I was driving home and I'm like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
that's a great point. Maybe I should just go all in on that. And that was kind of the start of it. And that's when we kind of went all in.
That's an awesome story, and I think there's so many lessons in there, especially around selling yourself, pitching yourself. Right, you touched on that a couple different times. The willingness to do something for free as well, I think, gets overlooked a lot of times. Obviously, you aren't gonna, say, "Hey guys, I'll do this for free for the rest of my life," but it's to get your foot in the door, like you said, right? Teaching yourself new skills. And I also just love, it's the most Boston story ever, owning a bar, company.
One thing I just, sorry to cut you off there, but like, if you wouldn't do it for free, don't do it for a paycheck, right? Like, if you really want to do something you love and you really truly believe in that, if it shouldn't matter whether you're getting paid or not. And like my dad always told me, money will come. And there is a funny story about my dad. I have to give him a shout out because one night I'm driving home from Comcast Sportsnet super late. And I'm like, I give him a call and I'm like, Dad, I'm making minimum wage at all these jobs, Spittin Chiclets, Wit and RA are kicking me money when they can. And I'm just like, Dad, I'm kind of at wit's end here. Like, this is, all my friends, they're all making 6 figures. I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like I just worked a 15-hour day and I have, $175 to show for it. Like I'm just, this is tough. It's really tough. And, maybe I'm thinking I continue to do Spittin Chiclets on the side, but I come work for you full time, and I'll kind of have a career shift. And to my dad's credit, he was like, come on, like, you've gone this long. Like, what are we doing here? Like, stick it out a couple more months. Like, we'll see what happens. But no, you would not, you're not coming to work for me. Like, you never wanted to come to work for me, and stick it out. And then, like, I'd say 3 weeks later, I was talking to Barstool about moving to New York, and I moved to New York and full-time job, and it all worked out.
And
So it's crazy.
I think that's such a great point of like, a lot of times I feel like people will kind of quit before that big break comes and kind of be like, it's never going to come. And a lot of times it's right before it happens too, right? Like it's like you wait that extra week or two or a month, and then that's when it happens. And I think one thing I really liked that you said was like almost like dressing for the role that you want, not where you're at, in terms of like selling yourself as if you have all this experience. And like at the end of the day, these are all skills that you can learn, right? So if you're able to walk in there and show them like, hey, I do have this expertise or I do have this knowledge, and make them really believe in you, like you can really do anything in that sense. And I think that's something that people should really like push harder at.
Definitely. And I think there's probably been many times where, like, I want to phrase this right, but like I wasn't always the best person for this job. Or I wasn't all, that's probably the wrong way to put it. I wasn't always the most skilled or talented person for this job, but I'd outwork anyone. There's no one that will even come close to working as hard as I would. And my guys know that. Biz knows that. Whit knows that. RA knew that. Jans knows it. Merles knows it. Colby knows it. They know I would take a bullet for them. And I think that aspect of it, that goes a lot farther than having the skills to do the job, because you can learn. You can learn skills, and you can learn, different techniques, and you can get better at your craft. But work ethic, and just the fact that like my guys know I would take a bullet for them anytime. And I think that's the reason why I think I've had so much success in this industry is because of one, my work ethic, but two, my loyalty.
Yeah.
100%. I think that builds that trust and faith that, even if G doesn't know this, he's going to go figure it out, or he's going to give this his best shot. I think that relationship, that trust, that applies to any industry, any job, but definitely applicable in a role like this. And to get into the Chiclets world a little bit, like you touched on, kind of started with a podcast, and now you've got 100 side quests, from Chiclets U to Chiclets Cup to Pink Whitney, Big Deal Bruin, everything that you guys do in between. What was the kind of turning point, Mike, where you said this can grow into a lot more than just a podcast? And what's your favorite, I'll call it, side quest or kind of additional journey you guys have been on here?
I'd say the turning point was one Biz Nasty. When Paul Bissonnette joined, man, that guy, Wick calls him like the stupidest genius of all time. This guy is so smart from a media standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, from a business standpoint. The second Biz joined our team, it was everything changed. It made us like, one, I think work ethic. It was like, boys, let's fucking lock in here. And he holds us accountable, every one of us. And I think that's important. And he holds himself accountable too, which I think is so important. But I think Biz showed us that there's more to this here. Like, boys, we got something special here, and we can build on this. And I think that's been awesome. And I think once Biz came in, there's more money started flowing in, and Biz was selling ad deals himself at the beginning, which is so crazy. An episode didn't have, say an episode had 3 ads, and our goal was to have 6. Biz would be on the phone all week working to get those 3 ads, which is crazy, which is insane that like Paul Bissonnette, the face of hockey, is making calls to get ads on his show. And but that like set the bar for the team. Like, hey, this guy believes in this so much, he's willing to spend his free time making calls to get sales for this podcast. If he's going all in, I'm going all in. It's almost like it's like Sidney Crosby blocking a shot in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, this guy's all in, so I'm all in. And so I think I would say Biz, it like overall Biz, that's when everything changed. That also introduced us to Canada, which we really didn't have a huge footprint in Canada. So I think when Biz came along, it really opened us up to Canadian, which there's also Canadian dollars too, which I think that changed our business as well. When we could start marketing to Canada, we could start getting Canadian sponsors, start doing events in Canada. So yeah, overall, one Biz Nasty was without a doubt the biggest factor in kind of changing the trajectory of this show. And then for side quests, it's tough because Chiclets Cup is something that like I just remember so vividly Biz calling me during the pandemic, because I started back during the pandemic. Bauer sent me a pair of skates, a pair of rollerblades, because I tweeted out something like, "Hey, I want to start like playing street hockey again. There's nothing to do in New York City." So they sent me a pair of rollerblades during the pandemic, and I was just making all these like videos of me like rollerblading around the city, empty New York City. It was like what's that movie? I Am Legend. It was like I'm stick handling through Times Square during the pandemic. There's nobody there. It was actually really, really cool. But I documented everything. And I remember Biz called me one time and was like, "Hey dude, like these videos are getting like a lot of traction. Like we should do something here. Like we got to do something about this." And I remember I like just smoked a joint. I was like getting up off my couch and I'm like, we should just do like a street hockey tournament. Like, why don't we just do like a roller hockey tournament or something? Like that would be sick. And then I remember Biz was like, "Well, we got to have ball hockey too." And I wasn't familiar at all with ball hockey. I knew what it was, but I didn't realize how big it was in Canada. I'm like, no, the kids are playing roller hockey, Biz, like street, like that's what we should do the tournament. He's like, "Gee, I'm telling you," he's like, I'm the Canadian guy. Trust me on this. We got to add ball hockey." And I'm like, "All right, let's do it." And now the tournament's become like, I don't want to say like the best, because it's not even close. It's more of like a hockey festival, but it's become a really cool ball hockey tournament where a lot of great ball hockey players come out and play in it. So that's been really awesome. But I will say this past year, Chiclets University has kind of taken off a bit. And that's really a project that I've taken on myself, my editor Fish. We've taken it on, and it's been really cool. It's been really, really cool. College hockey is something I've always been into. I used to blog about college hockey on Barstool in like 2017, 2019. And it's been really, really cool. So for those who don't know, we host this series called Chiclets University, where we head out to all the, not local, but schools all around the country, colleges, universities, and we check out their hockey facilities. We film a video about it. We get in the mix with the fans during a game. We interview a player, we talk to the coach. And it's awesome. I think it's been really fulfilling for myself to know that I can do this, that I am capable of hosting my own video series. And I think that was something where in the back of my head, I was always like, is this success from Biz and Wit? Like, do I only have this success because of Spittin Chiclets? And I think Chiclets University is something I ideated, something that I plan. I do everything, and Fish as well. Fish is an incredible editor. We do everything for it. So it's been one of those things that was like, hey, like you can do this. Like you are good at this. And so that it's been really, really fulfilling to me, and just getting out to all these cool schools. I went to Plymouth State. It's a small school in upstate New Hampshire. So I didn't get to go to, like at Michigan, we got to go to the big house and we got to go on the field at the football game, and Penn State, the whiteout, and it's in North Dakota, seeing Ralph, the Engelstead Arena, like the nicest college hockey, maybe the nicest arena in North America. It's just been so cool to go see all these amazing places. And all these schools they're renovating, and they're they're upgrading, and there's so much money in college hockey now, and it's so exciting to see. And so I'm excited to see where we can keep bringing this show, because it's my baby, as well as growing the game of college hockey. That's something I'm really trying to take. I'm really trying to push, because at the end of the day, if college hockey could be 1/10 of what college football or even March Madness college basketball is, we're all making money. Everyone in working in hockey, and everyone is making more money if we can just grow the game of college hockey, because that benefits everyone. Then it grows the NHL game, and then the college hockey gets a good TV deal. There's so many levels to it that helps grow the game of hockey, and I really think it starts at the college hockey level. So I think with knowing the platform that we have with Spittin Chiclets, if we can use our $1 million marketing machine behind college hockey and some of these schools to grow the game, I'm all for it.
Percent.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's a great point. You see, obviously, with all the big names too, that may be transitioning to college hockey from, say, like the CHL and stuff like that. I feel like there is that tide coming of like that the time is now for college hockey, and it's only the start. So it's super exciting to see. I don't want to backtrack here a bit, but I want to get a bit more into Chiclets Cup if possible. Obviously, I had to bring something for the show here. I got our
Let's
championship
go!
trophy.
Let's
We were
go!
roller A champions for those who don't know.
Team
But yeah,
CCM,
obviously,
baby.
yeah, and obviously, like that was an unreal weekend. You guys absolutely crushed that tournament. So something I'm looking forward to being a part of again in the future here. But just kind of like, if you don't mind talking on how that's grown from like the first ever Chiclets Cup. I mean, I'm in Muskoka right now. I even remember doing the pond hockey tournament that was here back years and years ago. I think it was just before COVID. Um, so yeah, if you want to like talk on how everything's kind of evolved from there, and give our listeners some insight.
I think that's one of the best parts about working at Barstool. I mean, there's so many amazing things, but the resources that they provide us to do these tournaments, it's crazy, because like in the beginning it was like I was in every meeting, I'm helping solve this and this and that, and now it's like there's a team that worries about this. And we have Live Event Lisa and her team of Taylor Ray. He runs all the Chiclets Cup, and I was out in Leominster with him looking at Sport Court, and like we just have such a good team in place. And like I just can't stress that enough, is like having a great team in place. It just, success will come. If you have the right team in place, success will come. And with the Chiclets Cup, we have that, which has made it so easy to grow. And on the other side, we use Hockey Fest. Hockey Fest is a company run by Brad Jones. They do an amazing job. They have the boards. They bring in everything. They set it up. They set up the whole tournament. They do the scheduling. They have the refs. Like, they are just so easy to work with. And once again, it's like we have a perfect team in place where if things go wrong, they're going to solve the issues, and we're not worried about it at all. So I think growth came pretty easy with that, because of the team that we have in place. And I think I do think ball hockey and roller hockey, it feels like the early 2000s again, where like it's growing. It's maybe that's because of social media, and people are seeing all like the Wish Cup, and guys like Nasher and Swaggy P that are these content creators that are making all this content that kids happen to love. Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm so excited to see where the Chiclets Cup, where we can take this thing in the future. I would love to go back to pond hockey eventually. I think it's going to take some time, and there's just a lot of like variables that come with that. Like I remember like we did the tournament in New Hampshire, and like a week before we were supposed to get up there, the ice wasn't frozen. So it's like you have all these sponsors and all these participants that are riding on this, and you don't even know if the ice is going to be frozen, or if it's like the ice could be trash too. So there's a lot of like variables that come with it, but I think eventually we will go back to ice. But I know Biz has a really, really cool idea for a future Chiclets Cup. I won't give too much away, but it's a big event in Canada in the summer in Alberta. That would be I think I'm guessing you guys can get the gist of where I'm getting with, but it would be pretty cool if we could do a Chiclets Cup there.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. And I think also the money is a factor for roller and ball hockey's popularity now too, right? You don't have to go pay $500 to get on the ice. You can just go out on the street with your buddies, and that all plays into the success of it there. I want to talk about college hockey more, and this will be a little bit of a long preamble here, G, but to kind of paint the picture, my view on college hockey. Growing up in Canada, we didn't really get it on TV. We would get one game a week on Big Ten, usually Friday nights, I think it was, and I always remember watching those. But for us, it was OHL, Major, Junior. I grew up near Owen Sound, so I would be watching Biz or Bobby Ryan play Corey Perry and Patrick Kane and Rob Schremp in London. And the OHL is what Lucas and I grew up watching and thinking that we could make. Whereas that was college hockey more so for you guys now. Once I moved down here a year or two ago, been blown away by college hockey. Spending a lot of time with Laz and other people in the college hockey scene. Like, I absolutely love college hockey. It sounds like everything you've said, it's always been a passion of yours there. The game is continuing to grow, like we said. Their programs are continuing to grow. What does that mean for working in hockey, jobs in hockey? What type of jobs, roles, etc., do you think are going to open up more in college hockey as the game continues to take in better players, more money, and grow globally?
I think first and foremost is college hockey is becoming a business, as we've seen with NIL, and now that these CHL kids can now come transfer in, it's becoming a full-blown business. And we saw it with North Dakota. Schools are hiring GMs. So that's easy. Number one is a general manager position at a college, and then there's going to be a trickle-down effect. Eventually there's going to be assistant GMs and head of scouting departments, and it's not going to just be on the assistant coaches to handle the recruiting. Enough money is going to file into these teams where they're going to have pro staffs, they're going to have analytics guys, they're going to have cap guys, they're going to have full-blown front offices. So I would say that's where I would start. And if you're a young guy out there and you have like a hockey and a business background, I would pitch myself to every college hockey team as a cap guy, as a front office guy. Let me be the assistant GM. Let me come in and just help out, because where this is going, there's going to be so many college hockey front office positions in the next 5 to 10 years. I'd say even 3 to 4 years.
Agreed. Yeah, it's awesome, and I think the marketing and broadcasting side of it too, right? Like I said, growing up, it was hard to find a game in Canada. Gavin McKenna's coming down here. We better be able to watch that game up in Canada, right? So that's more jobs on the broadcasting, the marketing, all these things.
David Carl talks about this all the time. It's like college hockey needs they need a TV deal. I love that I can watch any game anytime on ESPN Plus, but we need these games broadcasted nationally. It's so vital to the sport. And yeah, I mean, if we can figure out how to get these games nationally broadcasted, again, so many jobs are going to open up, because there's going to be like The Athletic and all these big companies are going to start hiring college hockey writers, and there's just going to be so many jobs opening up if they can get a TV deal. So hopefully we see that coming in the near future.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it'll almost kind of be like the NHL and like the staffs that they have around that. Like it'll be built like that with how much money. I mean, it's like you said earlier, college football is the perfect example. Like it almost is at the level of like professionalism as the NFL is. Like it gives that feel to these kids that are playing in it, like they're playing pro before playing pro. And I think college has already been close to that as that next step. There's a lot of older players, and it feels kind of a more mature game than the CHL and the Canadian leagues in general. But I think it's only going to continue to get bigger in college, and that's why it's so cool and unique. And those crowds are just insane at the games, and it's just like unlike any other like league, really.
And I said this like a few years ago, and I got so much shit for years. I've been saying like how awesome and how great the Big Ten is for college hockey, and people are so butthurt about the WCHA getting broken up, and Minnesota's in the Big Ten now, and the old rivalries are gone. Let's cut the bullshit right there, because you know what talks? Money talks. And you know who has money? Big Ten schools, because they have football programs. I'm sorry, Bemidji State. I'm sorry. Great school, but you know what I mean? They can't keep up with the money that's coming into Penn State, to Michigan, to Michigan's. They're talking some of these schools are going to pay $250,000 to get Gavin McKenna. Like, these small schools can't compete with that. And there's not an issue in that, but it's if you want to grow college hockey, if you want this sport to grow, if you want to keep it how it was for the past 15, 20 years, where, you know, any small school can beat, that's fine. That is completely fine. That's the college hockey I grew up loving. And I'm fine with that. But for the people sitting here, you can't have both ways. If you want to grow college hockey, you need the Big Ten schools. You need the Penn States. You need the football schools of the world. And we need the SECs coming in next. We need the Alabamas, the Clemsons, the Georgias, and we need the Pac-12 of UCLA, USC, Oregon. Because once those schools come in, game changer for everyone. That's when you'll start seeing the jobs coming through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously, just to touch on kind of the uniqueness of the ability that Chiclets has, I thought this was something that I've always really liked about Chiclets and Barstool in general, being a part of that new age of media and the transparency and access that you guys are able to show. What's something that you think traditional media and broadcasts are lacking when it comes to covering hockey and content in general? Because obviously you guys, I feel like, just being with Barstool in general and Barstool themselves, get the ability to give more of that like true feel, not kind of like that, I guess, corporate feel.
I think it's important to, one, let guys be themselves. Like we hired Biz to be Biz. We're never gonna say, no, don't do that, Biz. Like, that's like, we hired him. We're in the Paul Bissonnette business. Like, that's the guy we wanted. You know what I mean? So I think when you try to rein in these people and you know, tell them that they, like, why isn't Jeremy Roenick back in the game? Like, why isn't Jeremy Roenick like sitting on the panel next to Biz? Like, he is so outgoing and out, like he tries things. Like, remember he was like skydiving before playoff games on NBC a few years ago? Like guys like that. Like, I want to see more guys like Jeremy Roenick in the game. I guys with personality. I think we need, that's what we need more of. Is, I don't care how many games you played. I don't give a shit. I don't. Because look at a guy like Biz, who, you say what you want about Paul Bissonnette, but he has become the face of the NHL. He has. He's become the face of at least NHL media. He has. And he scored 7 NHL goals. But know what Paul Bissonnette knows? Paul Bissonnette knows how to be entertaining. And that should overvalue your NHL resume. I want to see more guys. And that's something that we look for at Chiclets, is like, we don't just interview anyone that comes across our plate. Like, we vet every guy. Like, a lot of times Biz will jump on the phone with these guys beforehand and, you know, kind of get some stories going. And, oh no, maybe we don't interview that guy. Like, that guy's not the best storyteller. But this guy over here, he never even played an NHL game, but he's got some crazy stories about Russia. The hockey community is so big. There's so many people in this beautiful community and world that we have here. Let's not limit it to the guys who are the best at scoring goals and saving pucks and coaching games. Let's get the entertaining guys up on stage, because that's who the people want to see.
And I think that shows with TNT, right? Like, Biz has come in there and just been such a breath of fresh air for hockey media, and just like watching the game, like all those unique clips of him and Marshy going at it on the broadcast, or like things like that like you just feel like wouldn't happen without him there. And I think that's only going to continue to grow, because more people who are like Biz will start to get these opportunities, and it's just going to make everything so much more entertaining.
It's so funny when you're watching TNT too, like when they do something crazy and like, you're like, whoa, what was that? Like, that was hilarious. Like, you'll be sitting there and like, I'll text Pasha, like one of our other producers on the side, and we're like, 100% that was a Biz idea. Like, no question. And that's what's great about like working with a guy like Biz and guys like Witt and Jans and everyone, is like, they like to try things. They like to push the limit. They'll text you and be like, hey, like, let's try this. Who the fuck cares? Like, what do we got to lose? Like, so it's, when you have guys that want to push the limits, and they're not afraid of backlash, or they just want to create funny content with their buddies, that's the recipe for success. And like, that's why it's so special with what we've built, you know, adding guys like Colby and Merles and guys that, like, you know, they've all played together. Everyone on our crew has like played with each other at one point or another. So it's like they all have inside jokes and they know the same they know a bunch of different stories, and it's just it just build, and it kind of goes back to what I said before about like with our Chiclets Cup team and our production team. It's like building the correct team around you, and we have that with Spittin Chiclets, but like building a good team is just so important. It's like, I can't stress it enough. If you're in a position like mine where your job is to hire people and to put people in the right places to succeed, so you know the talent can grow and you know everyone can make some money, I can't stress it enough. It's all about building a good team.
100%. 100%.
That's a great point. And just to kind of wrap up with one last thing here, we always like to ask our guests for one piece of career advice. Like, kind of maybe it's the best piece of career advice you've gotten or something you've heard along your way. But what is one piece of career advice that you would like to give to the audience here?
So this is tough because I got my best career advice, I think, from the Working in Hockey podcast.
Wow.
And that was when Johnny Laz came on and said, I tell every kid I talk to this. I said, go listen to that show or I'll send them the clip. It's not about who you know. It's about who knows you. It's such a good quote. It is so good because I've interviewed kids that are like, oh yeah, like, you know, my dad's best friend is owner of the Dallas Stars. And you're like, well, does that guy know who you are? If I called him right now and said like, does that matter? Like it's about who knows you. So there's that. Your network is your net worth. I think that's a good one. And just like never say no. Like, put yourself out there. Don't give up on the 1 yard line. Don't throw the ball like Russell Wilson did. Hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch and let him run it into the end zone. Don't throw that interception on the 1 yard line, because so many people give up on the 1 yard line. And I told you guys, like, I'm a perfect example. I almost did. I almost threw in the towel. And now I'm sitting here today with my absolute dream job. So don't throw in the towel. Keep going. And just network. Meet people. Be a good guy. It doesn't cost anything to be a good person. Be a good person. And just I just think work your ass off. Work your ass off. If you outwork everyone and you're a good person, good things will come.
That's perfect advice. And piggyback off a little bit with a bit more granular for somebody who wants to get into hockey content or sports content. Obviously, it's a lot more saturated than when you guys first started Chiclets, or even when Lukas and I kind of started working in hockey.
We were the only hockey podcast. We got lucky.
Yeah, no, it's timing. Timing is everything, right? But if somebody wants to start kind of hockey or sports content today, what specific or tangible suggestions would you give them there to stand out, on top of just working their ass off?
Just keep posting. Like, I think when I was getting into the industry, you needed a company behind you. You needed to have in your Twitter bio, like ESPN radio host or like Barstool Sports employee. Like, you don't need that anymore. Like, you can build a brand on your own with all these different social media platforms. Post, put yourself out there, get yourself out there, and just keep grinding, because you never know what could happen. You never know who's watching. And I think, like, one thing, like I said, like, don't ask for a job, ask for advice. I think that's something that's been super beneficial to me, is just asking people for advice has gotten me so much farther than asking for a job. But I would say just post, create as much content as you can, collab with as many creators as you can, network, meet as many people as you can. And I think like I said kind of before, the same thing goes with, if you work your ass off and you're a great person, good things will come.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And we really appreciate the time here from you today, G. I've got one last thing I want to do with you here, just a bit of a personalized rapid fire. Whatever comes to mind, kick it off with
Go.
what you got. Cool.
Cool. Love that.
All right. Favorite.
Is it one word answers?
Whatever you got. Whatever you got.
Okay.
Favorite episode of Spittin Chiclets to date.
Sidney Crosby recorded live in Halifax.
Has to be. Has to be. Best NHL player golfer you've had in a sandbagger.
We've had some good ones. Ray Whitney, I think, was Ray Whitney was incredible. But I want to say Zach Werenski made the craziest shot of all time. So like my brain goes there when he made that crazy shot on like 17 to tie it up. Everyone that's an all-time sandbagger moment, but I'll probably go with Ray Whitney, the wizard.
Okay, good one. Touched on a little bit, JR kind of, but what current NHL player would make a great media member post-career?
Brad Marchand.
Absolutely.
Easy answer.
If you could choose the next 2 PWHL expansion cities, where are you putting them teams?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm wondering about expanding south. I'm wondering if it's time to expand south. I don't know if Fort Lauderdale could take a team yet. I'm gonna say Fort Lauderdale.
Let's do it. Let's do it. We touched on the SEC a little bit before, but if you could grant any school an NCAA Division I program, who would it be?
Ooh, that is a great question. Oh gosh. I think the UNC club hockey program is extremely well run. I love their jerseys. They do outdoor events every year, but something about University of Alabama, like something about like the Crimson Tide, they have such cool jerseys. And then like University of Georgia just built that awesome rink. I have so many teams I could do. Then you go out west and you got like all the schools out west. But I'm gonna go with the University of Alabama.
I like it. I like it. A lot of good answers there. Loudest arena/crowd you've ever been in?
Oof, it's close. It's either Montreal for Four Nations or Edmonton Stanley Cup final last season.
Two very good ones. Two very good ones. Who finishes higher in the standings next season? Our Leafs or your Bruins?
Fuck off. Come on. We just
You got to say it.
Talk about that free agency day, huh?
what the hell? Come on, guys. I'm trying to enjoy the beautiful weather in New Hampshire here, and you hammer me with this. How about this stat for you? Brad Marchand just wanted $7 million from the Boston Bruins. The Bees are paying Tanner Jeannot and Victor Arvidsson 7.4 next season.
Makes no sense.
It makes zero sense. So I'm going to say the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Bruins might have the worst roster in the NHL next season.
If you get
It's so bad.
It's not looking great. It's not looking great. Them and the Pens. It's going to be weird to see the two of them at the bottom of the standings. I'm going to scratch off my last one here to avoid some pain for you. I wrote, how different would the NHL be today if Marchand had scored that breakaway goal on Bobrovsky? But we'll avoid that. We'll avoid that for the sake of a nice, friendly conversation here. Gee, this has been awesome, man. Can't thank you enough for the time.
Fuck you guys. Oh, it's awesome. I want to say though, guys, like so many people ask me for jobs and I always suggest them to your page. I think it's so well run. It's so easy to it's just the way like you guys do such an incredible job at it. And like if there's anyone out there, like just follow the Instagram. There's so many jobs posted there every day. And don't be afraid to move. Don't be afraid to change cities because there's so many awesome jobs. And I hear people all the time saying things like, oh, well, I can't leave my town. I don't want to leave Boston. I don't want to leave Denver. Well, why the fuck not? Why not? Like, go. Just go. And I promise you won't regret it. You guys do an incredible job. It's so good for the hockey community. I talk about Chiclets and Chiclets University trying to help grow the hockey community. Working in hockey is doing that. I don't see many working in baseball websites or Instagram accounts. So once again, you guys kill it. I can't thank you guys enough for having me on, and excited to see where working in hockey goes.
Awesome.
Yeah, really
Appreciate the
appreciate
time,
that.
man. And yeah, no, it means a lot. And again, you were part of that initial kickoff. So it's all coming full circle here. Thanks again for the time, G.
Of course, boys. Thank you.